If you are a vegetarian, there's a very good chance that you are not getting enough proteins, not because options don't exist, because you're probably picking the wrong foods. I'm not a longevity guru, but let me explain why vegetarians need proteins the different way. For vegetarians, proteins needs can be slightly higher, especially when it comes from only plant food. That is because most plant proteins are not always absorbed as efficiently as animal proteins. So you could be eating enough and still falling short. Let's break down what makes plant and animal proteins different, why it matters for long-term health, and my top 5 protein sources vegetarians should include. Firstly, protein is made of amino acids. There are 20 amino acids and 9 of them are essential ones. Your body cannot make them. You need to get them from food. That's the catch. That's why we talk so much about proteins and the quality of proteins. Animal proteins like eggs, dairy, and meat usually contain all the 9 essential amino acids in very good amounts and score very high on protein quality measures. Most plant proteins are different. Some are lower in certain amino acids. For example, lentils and chickpeas, they are lower in methionine, while rice and wheat, they are lower in lysine. So, if you depend on only one type of plant protein, you may miss an important amino acid. The solution is very simple. Combine different plant proteins across the day. Lentils with rice, hummus with whole wheat bread, or beans with grains. These combinations balance each other very well. And you do not need every meal to be perfect. Your body keeps an amino acid pool, so what matters most is your overall protein quality and quantity throughout the day. Now, let's talk about why this actually matters. Why this protein hype? It's not just for muscle, folks, not just for energy. Protein can have long-term health benefits too. That's why the protein hype. Large population studies have found that people who eat more plant proteins tend to have a lower risk of early death and heart disease. One major study of more than 700,000 people found that higher plant protein intake was linked to around 8% low risk of death from any cause and a 12% low risk of death from heart disease. That's already a lot of lives saved using plant proteins. Another large Japanese study found that replacing even a small amount of red meat with plant proteins was linked to much lower risk of cardiovascular mortality. Now, this does not mean everyone has to completely avoid meat though. The real point is plant proteins usually come with extra benefits. They're often packed with fibers, antioxidants, and minerals, and a lot of anti-inflammatory compounds. And that complete package may be the one reason why plant-based proteins are consistently linked to better health outcomes. That's why over the past few years, we have heard so much about plant proteins being the best proteins. Now, the interesting part you all have been waiting for. What are my top 5 plant-based protein sources? Especially, this could be useful for vegetarians. Let me dive into it. My number 1 on the list, lentils. That includes chickpeas, black beans. 1 cup of cooked lentil equals to 18 grams of protein. Most people have no idea it's that high. And they come with fibers, iron, and folate. No cholesterol, very, very low in fat. Amazing, right? The American Heart Association consistently highlights that legume is one of the most cardiovascular protective food known to mankind that you can eat and put in your diet every day. Legumes can help lower your blood sugar, blood pressure, and LDL cholesterol. So if you are going to do one thing differently after watching this video, eat legumes every single day. Include legumes into your diet. Second one, soy products, tofu, tempeh, edamame. This is where things get interesting. Soy genuinely is different from almost every other plant protein. This protein is almost close to the protein quality of eggs and dairy. That's amazing for a plant food. Tofu has a true digestibility of around 95%. That makes it so interesting. Tempeh is fermented, which makes it easier on the gut, better microbiomes. Soy products can range from 36 to 40% protein by weight. That's comparable to a lot of meat products. And if there's only one protein that does what animal protein does for you, it's soy, folks. Tofu a few times a week can make a real big difference. My third one, nuts and seeds, hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds. We know these seeds. Most people think nuts and seeds as a fat source. They are, I agree, they are good fats, but they can be a meaningful protein source when you add them up across the day. Hemp seeds have a surprisingly balanced amino acid profile. Pumpkin seeds are protein dense and also rich in magnesium and zinc. Sprinkle those seeds over anything, salad, oatmeal, smoothies, overnight oats, whatnot. The protein adds up fast. Higher nut intake is consistently linked to cardiovascular and all-cause mortality. They add small amount of proteins, but protein addition comes over time. Next one is quinoa. Quinoa stands apart from other grains for one specific reason. It contains all the 9 essential amino acids on its own. This is rare for a plant food. Almost no grain does that. That's why researchers describe it as a near complete protein source. It's also rich in fibers, magnesium, and vitamin B. If you're going to have a grain, make it quinoa as often as you can. It's doing something more for your protein needs than just rice or pasta. So my fifth take for a protein source, you might not have guessed this, eggs and dairy. For lacto-ovo vegetarians, if you are a vegetarian but still eat milk or eggs, you could really score high amount of proteins. 2 eggs give around 12 grams of proteins, and 1 serving of Greek yogurt can give you around 15 to 20 grams of proteins. So if they're a part of your diet, eggs and dairy can really be useful to meet your protein goals. So now the question is how you put this into practice. The key principle in this is variety. You do not need every meal to be perfect because your body already keeps an amino acid pool throughout the day. What matters is your overall protein quality. That's the cue, folks. Start with legumes and soy, lentils, beans, chickpeas, tofu, tempeh, edamame should be your major protein sources because they provide good protein and better amino acid profile. So now we know what you got to do. You pair grains with legumes whenever possible. Rice with lentils, whole wheat bread with hummus, or beans with grains. This combination helps a lot because that can cover the amino acid gaps you found in plant proteins. Add nuts and seeds as a simple boosters. Sprinkle them over oatmeal, salad, smoothies, or snacks. Small amounts add up, folks, and most vegetarians do not fall short on proteins because vegetarian diet like proteins. They fall short because they tend to eat the same limited food repeatedly. Those who get most of the protein from plant food, they need a little more protein than usual. A vegetarian diet can definitely meet your protein goals, but it needs to be worked with variety. Make sure that it's consistent. If you like this video and has helped you, share this with a vegetarian who needs to hear it, and subscribe to eHealthyinfo for more science-backed health content. We got you.